Welcome to another episode of Do I Need a Reason? Today we take a look into the highly anticipated PS4 Pro and the architect who designed it. Sony's PlayStation 4 Pro launches next month, and to much of our little desires, there is still a lot of questions you may have on this new console. Like, will the Pro be at the end of gaming consoles for Sony? Or will the Pro really be worth it without a 4K TV? Many questions like that are floating around the world. When we looked long enough, we learned that the man known as Sony's cleanup crew, Mark Cerny, he stepped right into the plate and told us a lot of information we were looking for, in which he stated, PS4 Pro is not the start of a new generation, and that it is a very good thing. We don't believe that generations are going away. They are truly healthy for the industry and for the gaming community. It's just that the objectives for the PS4 Pro are going to be different. The Pro won't be like the past, where only dropped a slim model. In fact, the Slim is its very own entity from the Pro. It is bulkier and significantly more powerful than the standard PS4 or the new and improved Slim version. Plus, the Pro costs $400 compared to the Slim's launch price of $300. The Pro will be the dividing line on what consoles are now looking for into the future. In fact, in what is shaping the consoles for the future is now the Pro leading the charge for upcoming consoles. Cerny states that the Pro is not a new generation gaming console, but rather a bridge to what consoles should be at. For me, one of the hallmarks of a new console generation is the use of significantly more memory. Cerny is adamant that the hardware itself is not upgraded enough to be a new generation, but the Pro uses some new software tricks where it will make graphics and gameplay a little better across all definitions of TV. The newest, most game-changing technique is called checkerboard rendering. Checkerboard rendering changes the shape of pixels. They're no longer squared. Instead, this process relies on delineated horizontal rectangles that each include one color, one Z value, and one ID buffer, the building blocks of the game graphics. Using data from previous frames to fill in information gaps, checkerboard rendering enables developers to build a more complete, crisp image that, according to Cerny, is nearly identical to native 4K. He's not exaggerating here either. He pulled up a screen in days gone on two separate Pros and 4K televisions, one of them natively rendered and the other checkerboard upscaled. The images were nearly indistinguishable. The native game was slightly more saturated and the textures in the grass were clearly resolved, while the checkerboard grass shimmered slightly in the breeze. However, from 3 or 4 feet away, it was nigh impossible to see a difference. Of course, not all games on the PS4 Pro will use checkerboard rendering, or even attempt to hit 4K. Even games that do support 4K won't always reach their full potential, considering not all players own a 4K TV. For those without a 4K set, Pro games will automatically scale down to the TV's maximum display settings. Cerny says the titles are going to use the increased graphical power in a number of ways. Some developers will favor quality over resolution. Some will favor resolution over quality. We don't want to have any sort of rules that has to be followed. Noticeably improved graphics and new standards for developing games certainly sounds like hallmarks of a new generation, at least from the player's perspective. Technically, Cerny might be right that the Pro is a mid-generational upgrade, but it's clearly a significant improvement over the standard consoles, even for people without 4K TVs. So we should ask ourselves, did they really need a reason?